All right, welcome to our staff training. We hope that you enjoy the time that you spend with us. And today we're not only doing in-house training, we're also videoing for our schools that are out in the regions. So I hope you enjoy it. All right, this is who we are basically. We're Southern Cross Educational Enterprises. Our Managing Director is Slavic Pretorius. He may pop his head in at some stage during the week, but I know that he wishes us all the very best for the training and will be around. My name's Kathy Fisher. I am the CEO of Redwood College and I'm also the Manager of Support and Training for Southern Cross Educational Enterprises. We have with us some of our pastoral coordinators and some of our ladies from a homeschool group in Australia. So if you hear people asking questions on the video, that's who they will be. Okay, the course overview. The goals and objectives of the course are: number one, for personal enrichment. This is about you. This is a time as a teacher or supervisor in a school or a monitor, principal, administrator, that we actually take the time to minister to you. And so this is about your personal enrichment so that you are equipped to go back into the school and do the very best that you can. So be thinking about how this affects you and what you can do. The other thing is we're going to equip you with learning centre tools and a greater understanding of the ACE program. So they're the objectives. Hopefully we will meet them. Scriptures. We have a scripture for each PACE. Now I'm going to assume that some of you don't know anything about the ACE system. So these are what we call PACEs. It stands for Packet of Accelerated Education, and they are like a unit of work. So this is what, when we're referring to a PACE, we're actually referring to a booklet that is a unit of work. We have them in all sorts of subjects, but the five key learning areas are maths, English, science, social studies, and word building. So they're our 5 key learning areas. We'll also refer to a score key. This is a score key. This is the answers to the questions in the PACE. So that's what we're referring to when we talk about a score key. Now we are a biblical worldview curriculum, and so we believe in memorisation of scripture. So scriptures, even at training, we ask you to memorise a scripture for each PACE, and those scriptures must be quoted from memory before the self-test and before the PACE test. Now, I'm really tough as a supervisor, so as we go through the PACE and I'm coming to look at your checkups, then I'm going to be saying to you, do you know your scripture? Because having had experience in the Learning Centre, I know what students do and I know what adults do at staff training. Nobody learns the scripture till the very last minute, and then they get to the test and they go, oh, I can't remember it. Okay, so I'm going to be making sure that you are learning it on the way through your PACEs, and to help you do that, during staff training, your scriptures are on a little sheet here. We have one for each PACE, and we have a worksheet that you are required to write your scripture out to help you to learn it. There's room there for all the scriptures, and it will say checkup, page 6. So each time you get to a checkup or a self-test, there will be a space here on your worksheet to write your scripture and to start to learn it. Now, in the PACEs for the students, the scripture is actually in the PACE. So here's the scripture. When you give this PACE to the student, you would read that scripture with the student. And then throughout the PACE, the students are actually required to fill in the spaces till they start to memorise the scripture. And it's all the way through the PACE. So it helps them to learn the scripture. And because we try to make staff training simulate a classroom as much as possible, we require you to learn those scriptures too. There is also a training scripture which must be quoted to the monitor. Well, we don't have a monitor at this training, so you can quote it to me or to Carl. We'll see if Carl can be interrupted and you can quote it to us. It's Deuteronomy chapter 6 verses 4 to 9. Ben, after being in the Solomon Islands and hearing this multiple times, you should probably almost know it.
Yeah, should is the key word.
Okay, now this is so that when you go back into the learning centre, you understand how difficult it is to learn scripture. For one thing, it's much easier for children than it is for us. The older you get, the slower your brain is to memorise things. So it's great to train their minds while they are young. And they learn scripture so much easier than we do. So this is what a junior school would have for their monthly scripture. So that's an example of what you would give a junior school for their monthly scripture. Okay, so we're going to do a scripture and learn it. What are the requirements? Well, you need to attend every session. Now, Peter, I know you've got tomorrow, and Ben, you've got other things that you need to do during the week too. So we'll be a little flexible here, but for those who are out in the schools, you need to make sure that your staff are at every session and see every lecture and complete every pace. So all the paces need to be completed. You will have 5 paces that you'll be required to complete this week. They will be Procedures Manual 1, Procedures Manual 2, Wisdom, Organisation and Parents. Now, if you're doing the administrators training, that is slightly different, and instead of doing Procedures Manual 1 and 2, you would do the Administrators Manual, the Wisdom Manual, the Secrets of Leadership and Organisation. So there are 4 paces required for the administrators training. But all of those paces need to be completed, and there is a test at the end of each pace. Now, we're simulating what happens in the classroom. So in the training, you must get 80% on your PACE test to be passed, okay? So you need to get 80%, you need to do each of the tests for your 5 or your 4 PACEs as required. Now, if you want to do the Secrets of Leadership PACE with the staff, the ordinary staff training, that is an optional extra. We recommend that for senior staff and principals, pastors and administrators, that they do the Secrets of Leadership. Okay, you need to also have memorised your scripture passage, and there needs to be team participation. We will be doing some team things during this training. Ben, you'll notice that this is slightly different to what we did in the Solomon Islands. So we will be having a quiz or some form of activity each afternoon, and that hopefully will help to cement in your mind some of the procedures and some of the important things that you need to know and understand. What are the incentives? Well, you can earn privilege status. So you can earn, here we only have 1 privilege status, but in your classroom you may want to check in Procedures Manual 1, and there are 3 levels of privileges. There are A, C and E. Here at training we just have the privilege of being able to get up and score without permission. So you can earn that by doing all the right things and not getting any demerits. You will also receive a certificate at the end of the training. The certificate is current for 5 years, so you don't need to retrain for 5 years. Okay, do we have any questions so far? No? Everybody's happy. Awesome.